Hello everybody and welcome into PGR eSports live tonight with the 2-year anniversary race here for PGR. We got an exciting kind of special event to break up PGR Speed Week, of course, with the first annual PGR 500 and the road to it going on. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. Well, it was a bit of a quick turnaround here tonight, so I apologize if I seem just a little bit miscombobulated, but again, excited to be here and excited to see what kind of show these guys are going to put on here tonight. We're going to return to pretty much what was the bread and butter of PGR when it first started 2 years ago, and that was the Craftsman Truck Series. So let's get right down into it and get trackside for your starting grid. Taking the pole here tonight, one of our fellow broadcasters, Dawson Wise, puts down a heater of a lap at a 54.661. Cody Nagels will start to the outside in second for Nightmare Esports, and then it'll be the Canadian driver Kyler Wynn back in third with Nathan Harper to his outside in fourth. You've got Freddie Bosnez back in the fifth spot with Dylan Jones to his outside in sixth. Vicente Guerrero in seventh with Landon Velicki to his outside in eighth. Garrett Maines in ninth and Nash Brambilla rounding out the top 10. Ken McCullough Jr., the veteran from McCullough Motorsports, will start back at 11th. That's going to be Brian Hennings to his outside in 12th. Back in row number 7, Sean English in the 960 truck. He will start alongside Devin Ray in the number 2. Then it's Chase Mastretta and Hunter Hastings back in row 8 with Asher Little and Ethan Eckert in row 9. By the way, Ethan Eckert will be your pole sitter for the PGR 500 on Sunday, so congrats to him on that. Jeff Merck starts back at 19th, and it'll be Heath Job rounding out the top 20. David Flanagan, he'll start back at 21st. Series owner, Joshua Watson, 22nd, and then series owner Michael Triscaro back in 23rd. James Wagner, he will start 24th here tonight with Chris Melton, another one of the R&R drivers, in 25th. Richard Elliott, 26th, with Austin Hill, 27th. Joshua McCullough back at 28th. Jonathan Herbert and Daniel Eberhardt round out the top 30. John Darnell and Adam Young will start back in row 16. It'll be Sean Corbett alongside Chris Blanchard back in row 17. Garrett Pick starts 35th with Axel Smith in 36th. And it's going to be Michael Miller alongside Cole Larson back in row 14. Jeff Scott starts in 39th, and it's Landon Huffman rounding out the top 40. Big field here tonight as it continues back to 41st, where James Warren will start in that 13 machine. And then you've got James Seawright in 42nd, Sean Hilkwicks in 43rd, Michael Barksdale 44th with Avery Watkins 45th, Larry McDonald 46th, Sterling Thess in 47th with Ryan Schreckengost back in the 48th spot. And rounding out the big field here tonight, Landon Tilley 49th, Michael Wingo 50th with Matthew Baker 51st, and Ambrose Kniebel in 52nd. Looking at your race info, we're going back to old school. 40 laps. These guys will have 100% fuel. Unlimited tires. You do have that one faster pair in your back pocket if you need it. Fixed setups as always, and 3 green-white checkers if we are to need them. Don't forget, track temp always plays a big part here at a track like Talladega or Daytona. And starting at 87 degrees here tonight, 72 air temp in the sim. A beautiful day for racing, and we are ready to go. Well, to go with the spirit of throwback, we've got a throwback tower and some throwback logos. Let me know what you think. And here we go. The iRacing.com pace truck going to make the left turn. And here comes Dawson Wise and Cody Nagels up into the Geico restart zone for the first time here tonight. Green flag is in the air. The 2-year anniversary race of PGR is underway at Talladega. Field works down the Alabama gang backstretch for the first time here tonight. For the most part, everybody is 2x2. In tight formation they are, especially up front. Kyler Wynn pushing on the back bumper of Dawson Wise. Just behind him, you've got the 8 machine. Freddie Bosnez, he's doing as much as he can as well to try to get this line going forward. Nathan Harper, Dylan Jones, a little bit of separation, but it's going to be a question of who gets this third lane going first. And it looks like we're not going to have to look too far to find who. Ethan Eckert going to jump to the outside here with Jeff Merck. And remember, in these trucks, it's a lot different with the way you got to drive it and the way that you got to take these runs. And kind of a complete flip over from what we see in the next gens, which is, of course, the car being run this week for everything regarding the PGR 500. But Eckert looking very smooth and very comfortable right now on the outside line. He's just waiting for Merck to actually get connected to his back bumper. It looks like Joshua Watson in the 01 Ryko machine maybe thinking about trying to go out there with those two as well, and they're going to need that as well. Man, the 31 of Flanagan slams the door on Watson, but will add to the total numbers here of trucks trying to make this outside line work, and they'll continue to go forward as long as they stick together the way they are right now. A couple of others further back dropping in line. One of them was series owner Michael Triscaro. But back at the front we go, and it is still the same two who started this race up front. They're leading trouble in the middle of the pack. Can they save it? Trying to hold on for Brambilla. Can he do it? He cannot. The 23 is going to go around. He'll collect Garrett Maines, who gets up in the air. Caution is out. Chase Mastretta almost got upside down. Larry McDonald's in it in the 80. Trouble doesn't end there. Caution out for the first time here tonight with just 3 laps in the books. And man, Brambilla was so close to having one of the greatest saves that we have ever seen over here at PGR. Running that the throwback blaster scheme with the black and blue PGR logo. And so for Nash Brambilla right now, this is not a good sign. Look at that left front. You see the whole truck pretty much shaking. That's a result of that left front suspension being broken, and not just slightly. I mean, that thing is destroyed. So he's going to have to go in here and unfortunately take his fast repair obviously much earlier than he would have liked to, and that may be the case for a couple of drivers here. Again, this one I think catches a lot of people off guard. Is, you know, I know we were 3 wide, but the truck's usually pretty stable, especially with how cool the track temp was here for this race tonight, but it doesn't always necessarily determine how things are going to go. And we'll go back here and look at a replay and see exactly where everything went wrong for Nash Brambilla and company. So here we go. We'll start first. See if we can go to the chopper view. Watch as we back this up here. So Nash Brambilla is running in the middle of the racetrack, and he'd already gotten something. He already makes contact by this point. It's going to be Ethan Eckert, the truck that gets into him. So you've got Eckert on the outside. Merckx just behind him. Merckx trying to line Eckert up for a push. Merckx still not there. Still not there. Boy, that's odd. Almost looks to me just like Eckert's coming down. Now, the way he was coming down almost is kind of the look that you get when you're getting pushed down. But, I mean, you could just see here, Merckx never actually hitting him. Merck is not on his rear bumper. Still not on his rear bumper, and Eckert's truck just starts to come down the hill, and when it does, he gets into Brambilla, who gets down into Guerrero. The 74 Hennings is going to tag Brambilla, but then here we go. For a split second, he's got a chance. He's got a window as everybody dives down, but when he gets that second hit into the 14 of Guerrero, it just gets him back up the track into Hennings. Still trying to save it, but then eventually they just can't. Brambilla goes down, gets into Garrett Maines. His truck gets turned around quickly, and then watch for everybody else here who's going to try to escape this on the bottom. Brambilla's going to absolutely slam the passenger side door of Mastretta. Look at that thing get up on its side. Down below the apron, and here comes Larry McDonald. He'll dive low. Looks like he's able to escape unharmed. But a tough, tough break indeed. Watch this again from the blimp cam. And, you know, before we actually look at the blimp cam here and watch some of these hits, let's go all the way back and further towards the front here and show you what Ethan Eckert saw. And watch his wheel movement. Does this look like he's trying to steer down there, or is it something that's maybe involuntary? No, it looks to me like he's turning the wheel down. I don't really know why, but it certainly looks like right here. Look at the wheel. I mean, he's got it. There's a little adjustment right, but then here, he's generally moving left. He's making little corrections to the right, so I'm just not sure. Again, it's a really, really odd look, especially because, like I said, Merckx wasn't actually pushing him. He's close, but I don't know if he's somehow getting him slightly aero loose, or like I said, if Ethan just is turning down the hill a little bit, as these trucks do tend to bobble around a little bit through the tri-oval. But, I mean, once it happens, it's on. Watch out back here. He's going to see the chaos start to form up, and then they get out of control here pretty quickly. And Jeff Merck, that truck gets airborne, but eventually sets back down. And I think Merck avoids getting hit, so he'll actually be okay. A lot of the other drivers out back that you got to worry about, such as Chase Mastretta, Nash Brambilla, Garrett Maines. Those are the guys that took the biggest impacts from this one and ultimately may have the worst damage. Here's Mastretta going low, thinks he's going to miss it. And at the last second, just gets door checked. Absolutely nothing he could do at that point. Another angle there of that hit for Mastretta. Look at that thing go, and he wasn't the only one. We saw Garrett Maines take a pretty massive hit as well. I think he's still in the pits actually getting some damage fixed. You wonder if it broke some sort of suspension component here for Garrett, or if it's just trying to get that damage fixed optionally instead of using that one fast repair yet. Here's one more angle of this here from the turn 1 cam. Kind of see everything happen as they all fan out to miss it. And oh, one in the back. Didn't see that initially. That was the 20 truck. It's a pretty big hit. That was Cole Larson. Tough break for Cole there as in the secondary portion of that incident. So as we go back live now, back up towards the front of the field. It's Kyler Wynn currently being scored as your leader. Again, 6 of 40 laps complete here in the books here tonight. And 40 laps can go by pretty quickly here if these guys start clicking off some green flag laps. Now, if it is 100% fuel, which is what I heard from race control, I don't know if that's confirmed yet or not. If that were to be the case, it's going to be pretty close on if they can make this here the rest of the way. These trucks on 100% fuel can make at least 30, maybe 35, so we'll have to see. And then nonetheless, go back to looking at your top 5. Kyler Wynn, Dylan Jones, Ken McCullough Jr., Chris Melton, and Heath Job. And right now it's Melton, Herbert, Joshua McCullough, Daniel Eberhardt, John Darnell, and Garrett Pick, who all find themselves up 20-plus positions from where they started this race at. And got some love over here for the 99 machine. John Darnell, beautiful-looking throwback colors for the Pacey Gray Racing Machine. And, of course, John Darnell, one of the Team PGR drivers, rocking the good colors here tonight. Shout out to John. If we get another incident later, we'll see if we can get an interview with him, see how he's feeling about tonight. By the way, if you're just tuning in, certainly appreciate you being here. Hope that you are having a good Friday night, as it is about almost 11 p.m. Eastern here on the East Coast. And I'll tell you what, 6 of 40 laps, that may not seem like a lot, but overall, the racing that we got in those 6 laps was intense enough to where you felt like it was even longer than that. I mean, things were getting pretty chaotic pretty quickly, and I think we're going to see, honestly, more of the same right here. We'll have to see what happens, but, I mean, overall, you just wonder what this one means to a bunch of these guys. I mean, this is a big deal, not only to win this one, but just to be able to participate in a race. And for some of these guys, they were here 2 years ago when PGR first started. They were around when things were new and we didn't have these sellout fields each and every race, and now here we are. What a ways we've come. What a great growth in the community that we've seen. And what an opportunity we get here tonight to see something like this. All right, green flag back in the air up front. Kyler Wynn out of the gate with a good restart. Ken McCullough Jr. trying to get to his back bumper, but it looks like it's going to be the outside that'll see the help first. Chris Melton quickly locked up to the back bumper of Dylan Jones. Can't forget about the 87 back here right now as well. That's Heath Job, I believe. It might actually be, is that Job or Herbert? Excuse me, Job or Herbert. That's Herbert. Looks like John Herbert in that 87 is running throwback colors as well, but Heath Job in the 760 is the other car that caught my eye in those beautiful black, white, and teal PGR eSport throwback colors. So as Kyler leads the bottom, we see a lot of separation right now, all the way from front to back in terms of the packs as they run. The 44 truck, Garrett Pick further back. He's one of the guys that you're going to have to keep an eye on here tonight. Just behind Garrett Pick, how about the 00? We saw Michael Barksdale and the job that he was doing in some of the races the last couple weeks. And here he is tonight. Chris Blanchard, associate sponsor to the PGR 500. He currently sits on the inside in that number 9 truck. Trying to roll up to the back bumper here of John Darnell. The further back you go, the names don't die out. I mean, we've got some trucks here that are just, I think, maybe trying to take it a little bit easy as we hop on board here with the 77 machine of Michael Miller. That's one of the drivers out of Granite Falls, North Carolina. And looks like just in front of him there, that might have been Avery Watkins, or was that? No, that was actually going to be Asher Little. And the big green truck here tonight, the driver out of K-Town. Just taking it easy. He sees that giant pack in front of him. And again, these trucks, they can draft for quite a ways, so they don't necessarily have to worry about trying to stay right up on the back bumper of the trucks in front of them. And this is why you don't, because of this. 3 wide, almost 4 wide. We may go 4 wide here, and we will. The 5 of Matthew Baker and the Coasting Thunder. Chevy Silverado trying to go 4 wide. Velicki's going to go with them. Hennings will as well, and now it's only the 44 truck who's the odd man out. Eberhardt leads the charge up top. The 44, Garrett Pick, rather. He's going to try to get in line, and he finally does. Looks like Eberhardt may have cut him a bit of a break. And man, oh man, Eberhardt pushing for all he can on the outside right now. Kyler still stuck in the middle. Ken McCullough Jr. on the bottom. And all this 3 wide leads to this gridlock formation that we see right now, where if you're one of the guys further back, you don't have anywhere to go. All you can do if you're in the middle is just stay there and try to push and hope that you can either get a gap that opens up or clear something out to the back. Watch out. Now they're going to fan out 4 wide further back in the tri-oval. They're going to try to sort it out again here, and it looks like they will. That was the 8 of Freddie Bosnez, the odd man out. He's still split 4 wide. And it looks like finally the 2 of Devin Ray is going to cut him a break. He'll get back down to 3. Up top, you've got the 01 Michael Wingo, Jeff Merck. They're getting lined up on the back bumper of Ryan Schreckengost. Back up front, still 3 wide. Eberhard trying to get pushed clear of the 82 of Kyler Wynn. The Sim Motion machine, though, is going to start to fight back. Jones and Melton. Big shove to the back bumper of the 82 into turn 3. They get him back clear, but Kyler, will he drop down? Yes, he will. Gets in front of Garrett Pick and Ken McCullough Jr.
Right, man. Caution is out.
As caution is out. Trouble further back here. Big field, and did we have another incident here? We must have. We got at least one truck in the grass right here. We got bumper covers flying everywhere. What in the world happened? As, the 20 of Cole Larson in this one again. He was just involved in the last one, and they're not done hitting each other just yet. Is that... I'm trying to figure out who the other truck involved. I think it's Austin Hill. It's so damaged it's hard to tell, but yes, it is. Austin Hill. That truck is killed. He's going to have to go in and take a fast repair of his own. Massive, massive damage to the 15 truck. Let's go back, look at it. Unfortunately, I see a lot of big names here that may have been involved in this, and boy, what a camera shot to cut back to. Austin Hill up and into the catch fence. Oh my goodness. Well, let's see how it starts first. This is going into turn 3. David Flanagan in the middle in the 31, the 15 Austin Hill up top. That's the 87 of Jonathan Herbert. And that's the 5, Joshua McCullough creeping up the racetrack. And I don't know if Josh just misses the entry to the corner or has some sort of other issue here, but he just washes way, way up here. And we're not used to seeing a mistake like that from Joshua McCullough. I mean, watch this. Just washes up. I don't know if he got lulled to sleep, if he was trying to set his black box, if he just somehow missed the entry. It's a really odd one. And again, something that you really don't see much from a guy like Joshua McCullough, but I mean, nonetheless, he sparks the contact, and when he does, watch what happens here. We'll go back and show you this again from TV3 now. He's going to get into Flanagan's left rear, that pink, white, and blue 31 truck. And so right as they get into the corner, there's Joshua McCullough. Maybe bumps the apron even, and once he gets up into 31's left rear, starts to get Flanagan sideways. He corrects, overcorrects, and goes almost dead right up into 15, who clobbers the safer barrier, gets tagged out back from Barksdale, goes right up over the safer barrier and into the catch fence. And then now it's just the mad scramble out back as everybody tries to miss this one. It's a big hit. Big, big hit for the 15 machine of Austin Hill. And then it didn't end there. We saw a couple of these other ones. I think Flanagan got beat up here pretty bad as well. He was trying to sneak through it, trying to save it more importantly, but he just wasn't quite able to do it. And once they rack up here, they usually tend to rack them up pretty big. And trying to go back and look at a bit of a view here for Flanagan. See exactly what he saw through this is, I don't think he's going to be able to just simply repair this. He'll probably have to go take his fast repair. Obviously, could have been worse, but here we go. Back this up for Flanagan. And watch this from the zoomed in view. And there's the initial hit. And then once Flanagan gets turned, just for the rest of the pack, there's just really nowhere to go. You got multiple trucks scattering down low to try to miss it. I think eventually a lot of them do drive out of it. But we had a lot of trucks that took a bit of a detour here through the grass to miss it. Watch Dawson Wise in the onboard view he saw through this. Checks up big time. I think he's either going to go low or just ultimately bring it to a halt here. That's a really nice piece of driving right there from Dawson Wise. Whoa. Even Trascaro almost with some contact right there at the last second. But again, a really, really good job to miss it. Cole Larson, 2 tough breaks in a row. Here's what it looked like for him. He's going to see it out of the front of his windshield here. Starts to check up, but there's just nowhere near enough time at that point. And he gets clobbered a few times. So big damage for Cole Larson and multiple others here. But I still think it's that 15 that got the worst of it. I'll show you a couple more angles before we go back live. And here's what it looked like from the blimp cam. Watch this. And again, all the different trucks that get involved. I saw the 01 here of Michael Wingo make some pretty significant contact. The 01 gets turned back up to the outside wall, as does the 25. And the 00 Barksdale with another hit right there at the end. I think the 51 might have snuck through. So overall, just a really, really tough break here. Brings out our second caution with now 12 of 40 laps complete. Make it 13 though as they cross the line that time. Back up front we go. Pair of Nightmare eSports teammates Landon Veliky on the front row. He'll start on the inside with Freddie Bosnez to his outside. You've got Vicente Guerrero back in third, Sean English in fourth, with Asher Little in fifth, Chase Mistretta sixth, Cody Nagel seventh, Axel Smith eighth, Landon Tilley in ninth, and Kyler Wynn rounding out your top 10. So with just 13 of 40 laps complete, we still got a long ways to go, but I think at this point a green flag stop may be out of the question. We may not have one now because, again, it's only going to be, I say only, this is still plenty of time, but it'll be 27 laps to go. I think these trucks can make that on fuel, at least from this point. And so if you're up front, Landon Veliky saving a little bit of fuel. He's got to try to take control here with his teammate, the 8, Chase Mistretta, and they need to see if they can try to dominate this race to a certain degree. By the way, if you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here. And if you've been sticking around, we appreciate you hanging with us. I'll tell you what, though, it's just, you know, I know there's a lot to speak on this week, and it's so easy to kind of overlook the fact of what these guys have put together. You got to give a huge shout out to series owner Michael Triscaro, of course, Matthew Baker, co-owner. You know, all the guys on the broadcasting team to help make things possible. Of course, Dawson Wise, he's been around for a while. Landon Veliky, new addition, but he's been doing a ton for us. Matt Metler, but everything that these guys do, and it's just so crazy. I had the opportunity and was lucky to be with these guys when they first started, and to see the growth, again, and not just PGR, but the money racing community is pretty incredible. And to see them be able to put on an event like this, just to celebrate, it's just really, really cool, and excited to see what these guys can do here for the next 27 laps. Once we get to 25, I think that's usually when the desperation starts to set in. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. Trouble out back. One already spun. It's the 45. I believe that may have been Sean Corbett. Oh, more trouble. We're going to get another spinner here. Michael Wingo. No caution yet. The 48, Sean Hilkwicks, also goes around. Corbett, he'll get it back rolling, as will Hilkwicks. Michael Wingo gets rolled back around. They all save it, so we'll keep it green. Trouble on the restart right there for the guys further back, but up front they get a good jump. And the 8 of Chase Mistretta, excuse me, not the 8 of Chase Mistretta, but the 8 of Freddie Bosnez, the man leading. The 8 of Chase Mistretta right now is behind his teammate doing the pushing on the outside. And Sean English out of teammate to Chase Mistretta, but man, he looks really sporty. And that's just about all blacked out 960 truck. Sean English, one of the drivers that I don't know if I feel like we've definitely seen him before, but maybe not often. But a very talented iRacer in general, well over 6,000, almost 7,000 iRating. But here we go, further back, Matthew Baker, Brian Henning is going to take a peek to the outside. They're going to try to get tandemed up. They may get some help here from the 99 of John Darnell. Looks like Jeff Merck, he'll take a peek up to the top now as Matthew Baker is going to quickly jump back down in line. And trouble, more trouble further back again here. As going into turn 1, Garrett Pick, oh, big hit for the 44 machine. He clobbers the inside safer barrier. Garrett Pick immediately going to pay the tow bill here. And I'm not sure who was the other one involved there. Didn't get a chance to fully look at it. Garrett Maines in the one truck has some damage. I'm not sure if that's still the damage that he sustained from the prior incident. We'll have to just see what this happened. See what happened here first before we really make any speculations. Go back to this most recent caution here. Yeah, Garrett was involved. That is for sure. We can see that there. But Garrett Pick was the truck that I think gets the worst of it. So how does it start? These guys were actually in towards the back of that lead group. They may have even actually been in a second pack here. I think they were. If we go to the chase cam, we can see real quick. They were still within range of the first pack, but they were still in kind of a secondary pack. Garrett Pick in the 44 in the middle. And Garrett's going to try to go under him. Garrett Maines tries to go under Garrett Pick. Well, I'm not really sure why exactly, unless Garrett Pick had damage. I mean, in this case, I'm just shocked. Usually you'd think that's a scenario where you push the 44. Garrett decides to try to split him to the middle. I mean, there is technically a lane there. But again, the 44 Pick, obviously not really expecting Garrett to do that. You can see that Pick definitely does try to cover it. But then they make contact, and that's going to get the 44 Pick turned around. Gets into Flanagan, then back up the track, collects Garrett Maines and the 20 of Cole Larson again. 3 wrecks in a row for Cole Larson, none of his causing. And the 44 Pick here, try to get it back going. And how does he spin out again here? Oh! Ooh. Well, that's not good. That was not a good look right there for Garrett Pick. That looked like some hurt feelings. Let's see. Watch the steering wheel here. Does he try to go up and clobber Garrett right here? I'll let the people at home be the judge. From my point of view, it's not a good look, ladies and gentlemen. There's no reason to turn the wheel that hard right there unless you're trying to get that one truck. I mean, what other reason does he need to yank the wheel right here? He's creeping back onto the racetrack just fine. But instead he yanks it right, and then here he's going to miss Garrett. Instead yanks it back left, and he hits him. So if he was trying to get his money's worth, he did so, but unfortunately, I hope that was worth the price of admission, because if that's what that was, the admins will park him for the night, and he will be done for a while. Like I said, I get it. You didn't like what Garrett did, and I agree. I'm a little confused on why he made the move. Maybe there's some bad blood between these two. But at the end of the day, you can't do that. I mean, everybody pays money to be in here. Who knows what kind of damage Garrett may have had. He clobbered the fence, so he had some big damage. But, I mean, for Garrett Mange, you never know. And if that could have ended his night right there by Garrett Pick driving into him, it's just not fair to drivers. Everybody pays money to be out here. And you hate it when things don't go your way, but got to be a little bit more professional than that here if you're Garrett Pick. And I almost wonder if Garrett saw it coming here. Is that why he backs down the racetrack so quick? I'm not sure. Watch Garrett here. After he hits the outside wall, he's rolling off, and that kind of saves him, but just hate to see that. We'll have to see. Again, if the admins didn't park him, then that must mean that it was not intentional. We'll get that officially here in just a moment, but 3 cautions in the span of less than 20 laps. Certainly a lot going on, and for Garrett Pick, he has been parked. So it looks like it's going to answer that question here tonight. Saw the 44 running up front, but after an incident, lost his temper, and that's where he ends now. Well, up front, leading the way now is the 8 of Freddie Bosnez, Landon Veliky 2nd, Sean English 3rd, with Vicente Guerrero 4th, Chase Mistretta 5th. Then you've got Asher Littleback in 6th, Axel Smith 7th, with Cody Nagels 8th, Kyler Wynn 9th, and Landon Tilley, I believe, is making his first PGR start here tonight. Currently sitting in that 10th spot, and he is up 39 positions from where he started this race at. And then as we go further back, sitting in, looks like all the way back actually, Sterling Thess in the 35th spot. I was trying to find some of these guys that had fallen a few spots. John Darnell still sitting in the pits here. He might be going to top off on fuel. Interesting call here for the 99 truck. For John Darnell, let's see how he's feeling here tonight. Hey, John, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I do.
Well, we see right now in the pits maybe topping off on some fuel. It's been pretty chaotic out there. How's it look from your point of view so far?
It was all right, man. The racing up front was good. Man, I lost force feedback for a second, so I had to creep down the infield, and I'm going to come from the back. We'll go get one tonight.
Yeah, and how about the beautiful colors on the paint scheme? Tell us a little bit. What was some of the motivation behind the color scheme here tonight, and what does it mean for how long you've been around PGR to race in this 2-year anniversary race?
I joined PGR just a little after they initiated, and man, a lot of these colors come from Heath Joven 760 Graphics, but it was my original paints from back 2 years ago.
Well, it's a beautiful looking truck, and we'll be keeping an eye to see if you can get it back to the front. John, we appreciate you talking to us. Good luck the rest of the way.
Hey, no problem, buddy. Awesome broadcast.
Thank you. John Darnell, as always, one of the drivers to keep your eye on. So as we send Darnell back down, we will go ahead and send things on the broadcast back to the front, where Bosnez just behind the pace truck, which will be getting ready to pull off here of the racetrack. And the 8 of Bosnez had a bit of a rough go of it this week in the qualifying races for the PGR 500, so he could certainly use a turnaround here tonight. Won 3 races in PGR Light this season, so he knows how to race in these trucks. But he's going to need a little bit of the brakes that come along with super speedway racing. We'll see if that brake can come here tonight. All right, here we go. Back up into the Geico restart zone. 2x2, and through the gears we go. Green flag is back in the air. 22 laps to go at Talladega. Good restart for the 8 of Freddie Bosnez. He'll pull himself. And for a brief second, there looked like the 960 of Sean English clear. English, though, going to stay on the bottom with Chase Mastretta. Bosnez up top. He'll get a push now from Landon Velicki and Vicente Guerrero. 97. How about Axel Smith? Seems like one of those guys that always finds his way to the front at least one point or another during the race. And here he is in that all-green 97 truck just in front of Kyler Wynn, third on the inside. Don't look now, but that outside's going to try to get rolling again. Didn't take him long. Jeff Merck was leading, but now it'll be Ken McCullough Jr. who takes over. Joshua McCullough there as well. And they may have a cavalry coming behind him. Nash Brambilla, after being in an incident to start the race, he is now trying to work his way back to the front. And looks like right now just behind him in that 13 truck, it's James Waring. They've got the 22 trying to creep up as well in the double mint machine. And that third lane, I'll tell you what, it takes a while to get the momentum going, but once you get it, probably about 4 to 5 rows within the leaders, I mean, it's just like you flip a switch and all of a sudden it is rolling. But the question now is going to be, does Merck have enough temps to push all the way to the front? Asher Little, he's going to now make the move up to the top. That was a perfectly timed move, by the way, by Asher Little. That's about as smooth as you can roll the momentum. If Bosnez would not have jumped up, Asher Little would have most guaranteeably gotten clear of the middle. It's not going to happen, though, as Velicki links up with his teammate here through 3 and 4, and they will keep the middle and inside lines at bay for now. We'll be coming up on 20 laps to go. Again, green flag pit stops at this point are no longer a concern. That's not what you're thinking about. It's more so get another caution, and we may hear seeing some reports of some trouble. Further back, we've got smoke. We've got trucks slow, but what we don't have is a caution yet, and now we will. There's the trouble. Richard Elliott's, along with the 25 here of Ryan Schreckengast, involved. 4th caution of the night, and this will now set us up with a restart close to 15 laps to go. All right, well, let's go back and break this one down for you where everything went wrong. Again, it was 3 trucks. I think initially either race control was trying to locate it or just waiting to see if they were going to get off the track. And whoa, Richard Elliott looks like he's going to go up and over in this one. How does it start, though? It's going to be the first question here is watch from the chopper view. See Richard Elliott in the O2 machine. He's out back. This is going to start in front of him. You see the 25 of Schreckengast just creeping down on Ethan Eckert. It's a really interesting look. I mean, it looks to me they're like, Ethan's there. Does Ethan come up at all? That would be the only other question. All right, so watch Eckert. He's in the red and black 12 truck in the middle, kind of center of your screen, and then you've got the 25 up top. So at this point, the 25 has kind of, well, 25's definitely moving down a little bit, and then he moves down some more. Eckert had moved up a little bit from where he was kind of coming out of 4, but I do think that Eckert kind of establishes his position by the time that the 25 makes that final movement down. And for Eckert, he's trying to follow the truck in front of him. And so right about here, well, Eckert might move just a little bit more, but it's not much. At the same time, though, I think you can clearly see that the 25 is definitely creeping down. And once Schreckengast gets into Eckert, that gets Eckert out of control. Eckert's going to come back up the track, and he actually gets into the 25 of Schreckengast. And then here comes Richard Elliott, hits the 12 and just ramps off of him, and as soon as he gets in the air, the truck gets caught by the air, goes for a bit of a fly, and then it's going to go for a tumble here. The trial takes about a barrel roll or two before getting back on all 4. Schreckengast takes a pretty big hit. Ethan Eckert here, I don't know how much damage he got. Certainly a driver that was notably involved in this one. Watch it from a different angle now as we'll show you this first from the zoomed-in view. It's a tough break for Elliott here, who again was really kind of minding his P's and Q's and just, 3 wide, tight racing. There's some more room here at Talladega than Daytona, but it's still tight, and look at Elliott. I mean, that is a wild, wild-looking incident for that truck, and then as it bounces off the concrete, reaches that tipping point, goes over once, lands back on all 4, and then he's not done yet. He's going to roll back up the track here, and these two are going to take one more hit before it's all said and done. You see Richard Elliott right here. He's got some pretty good front end damage. Arguably going to be a fast repair for both of those trucks. Well, if you get dizzy easily, you might want to look away. Here's the onboard view for Richard Elliott. Well, not that way, but we'll back it up a little more. I think you're going to get the idea here. This is actually the gyro view. So here you go. Watch this. Very tough break for Richard Elliott. We talked about it's kind of been, to a degree, just that sort of a race where we've seen a lot of cautions and a lot of guys who have been just minding their own business, getting involved in this sort of stuff. But, I mean, it's what happens here. It's the risk you run at Talladega, is that at any point you could be caught up in one of these big incidents, even if you're not a contributor to it. So Streckengoss with pretty good impact. See Flanagan doing a little bit of drifting down there on the apron to make sure he misses it. And so as we go back up front now, Asher Little being scored as your leader, Ken McCullough Jr. second, with Landon Veliky third, Ken McCullough Jr. fourth, and Vicente Guerrero, or excuse me, Freddie Bosnez fourth, and Vicente Guerrero rounding out your top five. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us here at Talladega.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run! We will run!
Ladies and gentlemen, we got
The monkey has pride!
this season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time!
Oh, that's good.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway with the 2-year PGR anniversary race. Again, marking 2 years since the start of PGR. Back when it was purely Pacey Gray Racing. Of course, now it's PGR eSports, but still same idea, same community, and same representation. So it'll be 16 laps to go when we take the green flag right here. Asher Little looking for his first underdog upset of his PGR career. Can he get it tonight? We're getting ready to find out. Here we go. Back into the Geico restart zone. Asher Little, Landon Veliky. Green flag is back in the air. Asher Little will wait till the flagman actually drops the green to go. And that caught Landon Veliky off guard just a little bit here. He's going to be lagging behind a bit. And trouble is caution back out. Further back in the field, what happened here is, 0-0. Michael Barksdale, the 0-1. Michael Wingo and John Darnell all involved in this one. And it's another restart incident. If you remember back earlier in the broadcast, we already had one of these tonight technically, but it didn't actually bring out the caution. Obviously, this one does. So that'll change some things up. Let's go back and look at it here. You almost like to, you would think, well, this is going to straight deny what I was getting ready to say. I was going to say, you'd think if it's a restart wreck, surely nobody hit anything too hard, but yeah, Barksdale says differently. He almost gets to the catch and said, oh, man, Darnell, that's a massive hit. These guys aren't even up to, you wouldn't think 120 miles an hour, but just nowhere to run here. And I mean, what actually sparks the checkup? It's just when you have, I'll tell you what, when you have this many trucks in a field, this is what happens a lot of times. It's just so many people that if one person out of the, 25, almost 30 trucks that are on one line makes a mistake and gets off a little slow, it starts this checkup. And watch, you see that checkup starting further up around Sean Corbett. It gets back to the 1 truck. Now it's back to the 38 truck. And then you see Barksdale here creeping up on it. The 38 has to jam on the brakes. Barksdale runs into the back of him. The 01 Michael Wingo is going to run to the back of Barksdale. And now it's on. You see the 00 gets shot up into the outside wall. Then gets tagged again by Michael Wingo. Again, that is heavy, heavy damage. And then John Darnell, I think he just locks up the brakes trying to miss it. That sends him down the track. And looks like he ultimately gets collected right there with the 4 truck. I just don't think really necessarily had a whole lot of anywhere to go. Watch this again here from a couple different views. First off, for Barksdale, again, we talked about this being a big hit. I mean, you're not even going that fast here. But when the wall's that close and you get turned that dead right, it doesn't matter. It's still going to do a lot of damage. And then the other view that I'm curious to go on here was John Darnell. What happens here to Darnell? I thought he missed it. Let's see, does he run in the back of it? He has some slight contact there, and he may have either shifted down, got hit from behind, or locked up the brakes. Some sort of combination of that, and so it ultimately leads to him spinning around. 4 truck, nowhere to go. So big damage here to at least 4 or 5 trucks on a restart incident. That we're not exactly used to seeing all that much, but oh, Richard Elliott right at the end of it too, didn't catch that part of it. So see the flagman just about as quickly as he pulls out the green, has to immediately go and grab the yellow. Give you one more look at this here. The starter cam. All right. So let's go back live now up front. This will now set us up with a restart inside 15 laps to go, maybe closer to about 11 or 12 laps to go. As Scott Kazin says, ARCA restart. Yeah, you got that right. That's certainly what it looked like right there. But for Asher Little continuing to lead the way, he hasn't got a chance to get too comfortable and lead too many laps up here because we keep getting all these cautions. Not giving him much time to really try to get racing, get comfortable. You saw Michael Triscaro way down there on the apron. So Asher Little right now being scored as your leader. Again, Landon Velicky currently in second. Kevin McCullough Jr. third. Freddie Bosnez fourth. And Vicente Guerrero currently rounding out the top 5. Well, we talked to John Darnell earlier. Let's see if we can talk to one of your front runners here. See if we can see how Asher Little's feeling right now leading the field. Hey, Asher, this is Austin up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah.
Well, you find yourself leading the way here at Talladega. This is a big opportunity for you here. What do you do going forward here the rest of the way, knowing that we're going to have about 12 laps to go?
Just plan on run the bottom, stay up front, find myself at the end.
Well, you don't necessarily have any set teammates, or at least not any near the front with you that you're working with, and you know, it's an opportunity to grab your first PGR win and kind of a special race. How does that change the aggression level? Do you do a little bit more at the end, or do you try to keep kind of the consistent mindset here and just hope to finish in the money even if things start to get a little hectic?
Yeah, no, I'm just planning on keeping it chill. Just hang out up here. No friends. I'm talking to some people, but yeah, just stay up front. That's really it.
Well, that's always a good game plan. Asher, you've looked good so far here tonight. Good luck the rest of the way, and we'll see if we're talking to you at the end of this thing.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. Asher Little, right now, feeling relatively comfortable. Says he's just going to keep it calm, doesn't want to overthink it here. And Scott Kazin says he sounds 13 low. Well, you might not be too far off. Again, you got a pretty broad range here. We've got guys that are... I think we've probably got a couple drivers that are retired from real-time work. Of course, a lot of drivers that range anywhere probably from college students like myself. I mean, the range is broad, and of course, you throw in a few kids in there as well. I'll tell you what, I know that I can't necessarily go back to the days of when they had Game Boys and whatnot, but I certainly didn't get an opportunity to do iRacing when I was 12 and 13 years old. I was either outside in the neighborhood or maybe playing something on the Wii. Certainly something different this day and age, but nonetheless, always fun to watch the talent that these guys can showcase at just about any age range. And it'll be 12 laps to go officially, and with that, that's getting close to that 10 lap mark where all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. Everybody's going for it. There is no more Mr. Nice Guy for anybody in this field at this point, but it's time to start looking for who's going to make the moves. You look back here a little bit, Joshua McCullough, if he could somehow find a way to get up to that outside line, he may be very well enticed to go 3 wide. I think Nagels is another one that might. Don't forget about Dawson Wise, Nash Brambilla, and Michael Triscaro. That could also be one of the trios that tries to kick off the start of this third lane. All right, pace truck going to make that left turn once again. We've had 5 cautions to note so far, and we've still got 12 laps of racing to go. Let's see if these guys can get a bit of a cleaner restart this time around. As here we go, we'll watch it again from the starter cam. Back into the Geico restart zone we go. Green flag is back in the air at Talladega, and it's a good restart. This time for the entirety of the field. Everybody gets going, no issues. And so as they work off into turn number 1, Asher Little with the advantage right now, but the help is there for both lanes. Freddie Bosnez pushing his teammate Landon Velicki, and Ken McCullough Jr. right now pushing on the bottom. Asher Little got to be feeling comfortable down there. But if Velicki gets clear, what will he do? And if you're Asher Little, don't forget that you've still got to try to manage these lanes a little bit. Into turn 3 they go. Still 2x2. Velicki was hoping to get clear. It's not going to happen. And there we go. Further back, guess who? Nash Bravilla going to be the first truck to jump out of line. Michael Triscaro's going with him. Will Kyler Wynn try to jump up and follow as well? He will not. Triscaro says, if you don't want to go, then I certainly will. The 34 is going to try again. Here goes Dawson Wise. Kyler Wynn's going to follow. Watch out up front, though. 3 wide. They're pinching each other here. And Jeff Merck's going to get turned by Nagels. Hard into the outside wall. It's the big one. One up and over. Another one hard into the wall. They scramble everywhere going into turn 1. Caution back out as we're still wrecking over here. The 7 of Harper's in it. Corbett, Matthew Baker, Jonathan Herbert. Cody Nagels gets back rolling, but not without major damage to note. And it'll now set us up for a restart within 10 laps to go. And this is what you start to worry about happening. Is when you see cautions, they tend to breed cautions. And we're getting to that point. Let's go back and look at it here. See exactly where it starts. This is going to be a little bit further up. It's right around where Jeff Merck was running, and you saw them trying to get a third lane working out back. You almost thought if there was going to be an incident, that's where it would have occurred. But instead it happens with some 3 wide that sparks up here. Now, how does this 3 wide start? Does Cody jump out of line? Does Merck go to the middle? How does Merck get where he's at here? It's a really, really interesting situation to kind of be in. So let's just go back and watch this via the chopper view, kind of all the way back from about turn 3. So you see Jeff Merck here. He's on the inside. Cody Nagels on the outside as they come off the corner here. Merck's trying to work his way up to that middle. He's still trying. Now he gets into Cody. Now he's bullying Cody up. Cody starts bullying him back down. And then they just eventually start ping-ponging off of each other. I just don't really know what that was. That was a really weird scenario that for Merck to end up 3 wide. It almost kind of had the feeling of these two were mad at each other about something, and Jeff was trying to prove a point, but I don't necessarily think that's exactly what it was. Now, at the point right here where they actually make the official contact that ultimately leads, kind of unfolds everything. So watch here. Cody's got about straddle to left side tires on that white line, and now he's got his left side tires on that line. Now he's back to about straddle. So Cody may have slightly creeped down, but you can definitely make the argument that at the same time Jeff Merck's slightly creeping up. It's just a really, really tight space right there. Not much room for either of them to really work with unless Cody goes up. But, I mean, Cody doesn't feel like he really should have to go up. He feels like he's at that lane. And, wow, look at Dawson Wise. Oh, my goodness. He almost did a corkscrew. Does Triscaro sneak through it? It's close. He's trying. I think he sneaks through the first part. I think he might have snuck through the second part. Wow, we're going to have to go back and watch that on board in just a moment. But what I want to do here is actually back this up even more, all the way back to where this may have started, and see if there was something that we missed with these two, some sort of disagreement here. I just don't know what would have happened to cause that. I don't see anything obvious when we play it in kind of fast-forwarded speed here. Let me know if you see something that I don't if you're watching at home, but, I mean, they're kind of running their respective lanes, and then as they get into turn 3, still respective. And then Merck starts to creep up some more. And then from there, they just start to getting to be a little bit upset with each other probably. And eventually they make contact. It's on from there. Let's go back and watch some of these hits. Dawson Wise, I mentioned, this was a wild, wild wreck here for Dawson Wise. This is one that you don't see something like this every day in the sim. And Dawson Wise, it's a big hit. Here you go. He's going to get kind of wedged, almost corkscrewed up. Kyler Wynn gets airborne. And I think that Kyler Wynn, actually, when he came back down, that was a huge hit, by the way, at the top of your screen right there for Matthew Baker. That was a massive, massive hit. But, you know, this is a couple of crazy views. Dawson Wise, obviously. But watch this for Kyler Wynn. I mean, this is something that you would straight up see out of Days of Thunder. He's going to actually get up in the air, and then when the car lands, he doesn't hit anything, so he drives off like nothing happens. Watch this. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. And if you're curious about what exactly that looks like from the spectator/TV point of view, look at this. I mean, here, this is when you're just hoping that as a driver, you're going to have something that you can limp back to the pits. He lands, bounces, and then somehow continues on like nothing happened. Michael Triscaro kind of did more of the same. He did a fantastic job of, I believe, missing this for the most part, although, ooh, never mind, that left front looks like did unfortunately sustain some damage, so he did not miss it. That damage is something that he's probably going to have to go and get worked on here. Otherwise, that truck is going to certainly hurt in terms of speed, and that collected a bunch of them. Might be easier to count the trucks that were not involved. Again, that was certainly the big one here tonight. Matthew Baker, we mentioned he took a pretty big hit. Kind of at the end of this, it looked like initially he was going to sneak through, maybe. It's always tough when these things unfold in front of you, and then you try to figure out which way to go. He goes low, misses a couple. Looks good, and then, oh, man, Joshua Watson just flying back up. Cleans out the 0-1. Gets up the track. And into that blue and white machine up top. All right, and so as we go back live now, we'll set up for this restart, which is going to be 7 laps to go. And Velicki now on the inside, Asher Little on the outside, so still same 2, though, in terms of the front row. Freddie Bosnez, Ken McCullough Jr. back in row 2, Sean English, Vicente Guerrero, row 3. Then you've got Chase Mistretta, Joshua McCullough, James Waring, and Dylan Jones rounding out your top 10. Jimmy Crow says, congratulations on 2 years. It's inspiring to see what y'all have done. Jimmy, we appreciate it. I know just how much you've done for the Money Racing community as well, so don't think that anybody that's been here since PGR started has forgotten about that. But we do certainly appreciate it, Jimmy. But a Nips says, Merck versus Cody was not on my bingo card. Yeah, you got that right. I didn't see it coming either. And here we are. Scott Kazin says, park them both. And at this point, I mean, this is going to be pure chaos, these next 7 laps. This is just tighten the seatbelts and put your foot to the floor. Don't lift until you see either the checkered flag or the infield care center. However, Andy Jankowiak said it in the ARCA race at Daytona last year. I think that's the mindset that a lot of these guys probably have to have right now. And remember, this race will not be deemed official until we get to the white flag. That's 6 laps away from now. I'll let you do the math, but with the way we've had cautions falling so far, I think there's a good probability that we see at least one more before this thing's all said and done. And here we go again. They're starting to check up out back right as the green flag is back in the air. And more trouble. Can they all hold on to it? This time they have to fan out to avoid some of the bad checkups. But it looks like ultimately they do. They're going to fan out 3 wide here as Nagels has to fight for a little bit of elbow room. Harper's going to try to see if Baker will give him some to work with as well. He ultimately does, so as they sort it out back, up front we go. Velicki on the outside. He quickly made that jump up in front of the 17 of Asher Little. And I think Asher might be a good man to stick with right here because he is a very good pusher and a pretty loyal one at that. If it's the last lap, it's a different story. All bets are off, and whoa! Little gets a little bit of tunnel vision right there as they go into turn 3. Velicki was trying to drop down in front of his teammate. He succeeded in doing so, but you could definitely see right there that Asher Little thought for a minute he would follow down to be clear. That was not the case, and now Ken McCullough Jr. trying to push the 17 back even up top. They need some more push from the 14, that third truck in line of Vicente Guerrero. Joshua McCullough on the bottom, Mistretta, Jones, and Wynn still lined up top, and there goes Wynn. He's going to try to jump up top to no avail. Nobody's going to go with Kyler Wynn at the moment, and he's going to be by himself, still looking for some room as they go off into turn 1. Eberhard and Kyler Wynn 3 wide. Kyler trying to find somewhere to go, nowhere yet. The 13 is going to jump up behind him. Still 2x2 though down the backstretch. And here we go, the third lane starting to get formed up a bit better now. Well, Vicente jumped to the outside maybe at the worst time. Right as he went up, Kyler went down. He's going to have to wait for some help just a little bit further back now. And for Vicente, he's going to get some here pretty soon. You can see the 13 of James Waring getting closer and closer. He's getting pushed right now by the 51 of Landon Tilley. Austin Hill's there as well, but up front, Ken McCullough Jr., he's ready to dance. Hill now split 3 wide. Kyler tried to block. Now Devin Ray's going to get turned. Trouble for the 2 truck. He goes around. Caution is out. And another one coming back up the racetrack. Michael Triscaro gets in an Ashburn Billy. He's trying to save it now. He'll officially spin out and go into the outside wall. I should say finally spin out. And was Ryan Schreckengost involved? He looks okay. Michael Barksdale, Devin Ray was the first truck to get turned around. And so now we will head to what I believe is going to be, our first attempt at overtime. And we do have 3 green-white checkers. So obviously, won't necessarily be our only attempt. It's been a little bit since we've been back in the trucks, and as clean as... I shouldn't say, I'm not saying they've been phenomenally clean, but overall, for the most part, relatively speaking, how clean things have been in the heats with the next gens. A little bit shocked to see this trend of this many cautions, but I think part of me's got to still assume that it's just a byproduct of how many trucks we have on the racetrack here tonight. Very easy to make mistakes when you've got a lot more trucks that can go 3 and 4 wide. And here you go, Devin Ray in the middle here. He tried to jump out. Let's go back to kind of how this whole thing forms up. Devin Ray's got to run here. He's going to jump out of line. Kyler's going to try to block. Kyler can't cover the block. Devin actually tries to... It looks like Devin was trying to sneak back in line, but you had the 30 down low, who I think that might have been James Wagner. We'll have to get a confirmation on that. Yeah, it was James Wagner in the 30. And Devin just was not quite clear here as he tries to come back down in front of the 30 truck. Obviously, nothing James Wagner did wrong, or really nothing he could even do to prevent it at this point. And just slight contact there for Devin Ray as he sneaks across the front nose of James Wagner. And then he gets down the track and Axel Smith, and immediately that truck starts to go up and over, catches on the roof, and that starts to tumble it back towards the other direction. Axel Smith takes a pretty big lick off the inside wall. Back and watch it now from a couple other angles. There's the big hit for Devin Ray. It didn't end there, though. They kind of had, I don't want to call it a secondary wreck, but the other portion of the wreck was guys like David Flanagan that got sent back up the racetrack into traffic. That's where things looked like they started to get really ugly for David Flanagan right here. See if we can find him and actually show you a bit of a view of what it looked like for his point of view. And so here we go, David Flanagan. He gets away with this. That truck may not be too awfully damaged, but here you go. Watches him and Austin Hill trying to dodge it, but Darnell gets hit by Blanchard. And back up the racetrack, Flanagan gets into Garrett Maines, who's had a very rough night tonight, and then see Michael Triscaro in the background trying to save it, fortunately to no avail. As we look at it from the TV1 entry, there's Devin Ray. We've had a lot of blowovers here tonight. Again, not too surprised, though, because we've had a lot of wrecks, and Brambilla right there getting collected some friendly fire for some of the PGR eSports drivers. Of course, series owner and Michael Triscaro. So as we go back live now towards the front of the field, leading the way, Freddie Bosnez alongside Landon Velicky. And that is 2 Nightmare Esports teammates. They're going to be tough to get around here under what could be this potentially final restart. Sean English third, Asher Little fourth, and Joshua McCullough currently rounding out your top 5. All right, we're going to take another break. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us for the finish here at Talladega.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We won't run! We won't run!
Ladies and gentlemen, we got
The monkey has prime!
this season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's on!
Oh, that's good.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. Three by three. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
We're back to Talladega Superspeedway, getting ready for overtime attempt number 1. Let's remind you briefly of how this works. They will have to take the white flag. More specifically, the leader has to get to the white flag to make this race official. If not, we'll rack them up and try it again if they get a caution on this first lap. Once that white flag comes out and the race is official, all bets are off. And here we go again. Guys not being able to figure out the restart. Watch out. This could lead to trouble out back. And there it is. The 98 of Dawson Wise gets turned, and here we go. We're going to pile them all up again, and this will bring the caution right back out. Man. I get it's a big field, but come on, boys. These guys, a lot better than this usually. I don't know what is going on here, but the restarts cannot seem to get figured out here tonight. And let me tell you, if it feels a little bit frustrating just watching it, you can imagine how frustrating it's got to be for these drivers. I mean, this is ridiculous. So it's all going to start again kind of up front. So let's, since we got a chance to here, let's go back and watch this all the way from where it starts, and then we'll go back to where things end. So first up here, watch from the chopper view. Vicente Guerrero. So there's some gap here on the outside. Now we'll play at full speed to show you. Watch as these gaps close up. Well, that may have been part of it right there. Looks like somebody actually runs into the rear end here of James Wagner. There is a little bit of a checkup, but what's really going to kind of, I guess, be the real catalyst here is it James Seawright maybe? No, I think it's the 51 of, I think it was. I'm trying to make sure before I say anything here, but I think it was Tilley, the 51 here of Landon Tilley. Let's see. Go to his cockpit view first. And yeah, it is, because you can see just in front of him right there, that is James Wagner, title sponsor of the PGR 500, Wagner's Welding. But yeah, he gets into him, and when he does, it's just, that's what really, really gets the checkup going out back here, and it gets pretty brutal here pretty quickly. In fact, Dawson Wise, who was hanging in this thing here till the end tonight, kept that truck relatively clean until a late incident just before this one. Everybody's trying to close these gaps. They start to go, and then all of a sudden they check. And so you've got guys thinking that they're going, then they're not. It's just a mess. And then once that starts, it just never ends. You got guys piling in here, creating a lot more damage than there needed to be. You see the 4-car there in the background doing a good job of making sure to not run into the wreck. I believe that was that Avery maybe in the 4 machine. Let's see if we can get confirmation on that. Yeah, it was Avery Watkins. It's not on the lead lap, but again, maybe gets a lap back there depending by keeping the truck clean. Let's see here. Watch it again. This one from the pit lane view. Watch just how chaotic this gets, how quickly. I mean, this probably collects 5 to 7 different trucks off of just kind of just silliness. You hate to say it, but if these guys are gonna wreck the trucks up, and I mean, at least do it while racing. This is, if everybody would just hold a pretty steady pace speed, and yeah, believe me, I'm not saying it's easy, but we've had how many restarts tonight? You would have thought by this one they would have had it figured out, but I mean, clearly not, and just brutal break for Dawson Wise, and multiple others just get clobbered. That was Heath Job in the 760. 00 piles in. Devin Ray was in it. That wasn't the only one. There was an incident here as well that was a little bit further up. 5 of Joshua McCullough and the 01 of Joshua Watson. And so with that, we will try now for our second attempt at a green-white checker. Remember, we've got a total of 3 of these. So if they get another caution on this one, we'll get a total of 1 more shot at it before we'll just deem this race official. By the way, if you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here. 50 viewers, but only 2 likes. If you enjoy what you're seeing here tonight, give us some motivation up here. Let us know. Give us something, whether it's just a comment in the chat. Lets us know you're having a good time, whether you like the stream. That certainly helps. And if you're new here, make sure that you do give us a follow. And by the way, one more reminder of the upcoming events in regards to the PGR 500. Tomorrow is going to be the second round of qualifying, at least the way I like to put it, in the road to the PGR 500. The LCQs in the morning to early afternoon, and then we'll have the duels in the afternoon. And those 4 races, rather, we'll have 2 LCQs, 2 duels. But those together will determine your set field, set 42 to 43 car field for the PGR 500, which will be on Sunday at 3:30 p.m. here on PGR eSports with a full-fledged producer and Christian Hill, and then the booth. Going to be a superstar lineup with Evan Pisoko, Dawson Wise, and then either myself or potentially someone else, depending on the way a few circumstances work out. We'll have to see. But certainly looking forward to that. A lot of drivers that you see here tonight still in those events, including your pole sitter, Ethan Eckert, who is currently sitting right now a little bit further back in the field in the 20th spot. He's got some work to do as we name off your top 5, top 10 one more time here before we get back to green flag racing. Freddie Bosnez lines up on the front row with Sean English and Veliki and Ken McCullough Jr. in row 2, Asher Little, Daniel Eberhardt row 3. And you've got Chase Mistretta, Landon Huffman row 4, and Kyler Wynn with James Waring back in row 5. All right, get your picks in now. Who you got winning this one? I'll tell you what, I think Sean English gets himself one right here. That 960 truck, it looks good paint scheme-wise. It's looked good out on track here tonight in terms of making moves and leading-wise. Now all he's got to do is make that truck look good in victory lane. Same rules are going to apply on this restart, by the way. It'll be a 2-lap shootout. And again, we have to make it to the white flag for this race to be official. If we don't, and the caution comes out, we'll rack them up and try it again. And we'll only have 1 more chance at a green-white checker. And by the way, race control generally tries to kind of keep in mind the way things have been going when they throw some of these cautions. So if we only get 1 or 2 trucks that spin out by themselves here on this restart, then we may not throw it. But the bigger thing here is just, can we get a clean restart? I mean, that has been the big thing. You can't get to racing until you can get to restarting, and we saw how that went here on this previous one. We'll see if they can do a better job of it here this time around. Big Bert has his vote as Bosnez or Huffman, and yeah, I think Huffman's certainly a solid choice. And for Landon Huffman, certainly always a guy that when he's out here, you know he's going to be a threat. But here tonight, can he find a way to victory lane and grab his first PGR eSports victory? We are getting ready to find out. iRacing.com pace truck going to make the left turn potentially for the final time here tonight. Bosnez versus English. Nightmare Esports trying to go 1-2. Can they make it happen? Don't count out Ken McCullough Jr., Daniel Eberhardt with a 91 machine. They can all have a shot at it as well. Here we go. Green flag is back in the air. 2 laps to go at Talladega. And it's a good restart right out of the gate for the 8 of Freddie Bosnez. He jumps up to the top. He'll away to push here from the 960 of Sean English. And English had an opportunity to potentially jump up if he wanted, but instead he chose to stick with the 8. And now, for Nightmare Esports, this is the game plan, I got to assume. Keep that 8 truck up as long as you can if you're Freddie Bosnez, and then the second that you get down, you're going to have to probably plan on being down for the rest of the way. Whoa, watch out, trouble 1 around. That's Asher Little. Can he keep it off the racetrack? Watch out, watch out. Is he going to slide back up here? He doesn't. The 17 saves it. What a save by Asher Little. We'll keep things green. And as they work off a turn 4, don't look now, but in the background, here comes the 1 truck of Garrett Maines. Can he back to the front? They're wrecking. Wrecking out back. Caution is out. And we will head to our 3rd and final overtime. Oh, watch out. Oh, man, the 87 almost got clobbered. Oh, there it is. I knew it was going to happen. Another big hit after the wreck because you've got guys in this second pack for some reason not slowing down. Even though you've got trucks that are completely halted all over the racetrack in front of you. And who was that took that big hit? Hunter Hastings. Yes, it was. And now His right front suspension's destroyed. And the extra long race continues here tonight. We were scheduled for 40 laps. We've probably gone near 60 at this rate. When you count up the caution laps in addition to the regular overtime green flag laps. All right, well, stick around if you're saying that you can't sit here for this all night. It's not going to be all night. We've only got one more shot at it. And let's go back and look at it here. Before we go back, and that was Hunter Hastings, an incident that he had. Let's go back and see what actually caused this one up front here. I saw, looked like Flanagan, who's unfortunately got himself involved in a few incidents here tonight. Seems like he's another one that can't catch a break. Was one of the first ones involved. That's Tilly on his outside. Here comes Eckert with a big run, and Eckert on the outside. The one truck's going to try to split the middle. And is that Sterling? Yeah, it is. Sterling Thess. And I just, I kind of wonder. Sterling, again, another very talented driver, but you kind of ask yourself in that scenario, really, what are you doing? I mean, you've got two options here. You push the undamaged truck in front of you and catch that pack ahead, or you try to split them three wide, make things awkward, and then I don't know. I know these guys all have reasons for it, so by no means am I going to sit here and try to be, I guess, critical of the moves some of these guys are making, but, I'm going to be honest here and saying I didn't see a gap. Maybe there's one right here for a split second. If there is, it's not much anyway, but I could argue that maybe there's a gap. If it is, like I said, it's not much, but then as soon as the one even thinks about going up, the 31's got it covered. I mean, right here, the 31's got it covered. There's no gap now. There is no gap that I can see there. And maybe even Sterling realizes it and he tries to drop back down, but whatever it is, he still hooks the 31 in the left rear that gets him turned into the outside, and from that point, it's going to be on here. Watch this again. As that gets Flanagan into Ethan Eckert. And then Flanagan gets up in the air. Brian Hennings is going to be involved here. He's got nowhere to go. Up into the tri-oval. Takes a big hit to 52. Eckert, another hard shot to 48. Nowhere to go. Big hit for the 9 of Chris Blanchard. Another big hit for Blanchard. So a lot of trucks that could potentially be eliminated from this one after that last wreck. Watch it again here for Blanchard. He sees him start wrecking. He thinks there's a chance we're going to take the white. He's on the high side and then just gets tagged by the 760 of Heath Job. And then tries to dodge it by shooting through the middle, but unfortunately just no luck. As the rest of them scattered through the grass to miss it. And then for Hunter Hastings here, this is one of those things where the awareness, it's got to kick in. Hunter Hastings, another guy who we've seen around a little bit longer, so this isn't something that a mistake that you expect him to make. Let's listen first. Hastings is slowing down here, but he's going through the smoke. See how slow Dawson Wise is going? And you got to slow down more because of that reason right there. You know that there's a chance that some of those guys that were wrecked and stopped think that things are clear now and that they can get rolling again. So you have to be aware of that. You just got to be a little bit slower. Again, I'm not saying Hastings did anything egregious, but it's a tough break for even him because he was fine. He completely missed the wreck, but then still ends up getting involved anyway by being in that secondary portion of it. Well, there's the big hits. Show you this one more time, zoomed in before we go back live. Look at Flanagan. Truck starts to get wedged up, and then once it lifts off, the air catches it immediately. Starts to go up, and then eventually he's going to set back down here. And as he does so, there's some more big hits for Eckert. As he plows into the outside wall. Truck bounces around, and then there's the 9 of Chris Blanchard with nowhere to go. 22, double mint. Ford F-150 gets pile driven by the 38. See if we can get one more angle of this here from the starter cam, or if this is even going to really show much. And from that view, it certainly isn't. Then as they slide into the picture, you can certainly see some of the bigger hits. All right, going to go back live now, where it'll be another overtime attempt. And this one going to be the last official overtime attempt. And how this works for these unless they wreck up front, and they may still not do it if they wreck up front. But the idea here is that they will not throw the caution regardless of what happens. Even if these guys wreck here on this first lap, even if they wreck on the restart, the idea is that they will not throw the caution unless it's up front and it's something that's going to change the scoring outcome and cause some kind of controversy that they really feel like they need to. Because if they throw the caution, then the race is going to end under caution. Now, if we can get to the white flag, that'll make this race official regardless, and it won't matter if they wreck after that point. All right, so here we go. So the iRacing Pace Truck pulls off officially for the final time here tonight. Well, I say he's pulling off, but he's going to have a chance to come back up. We get another caution, which I don't think we will. Final chance at it. Here we go. One more time at Talladega, and it's a good restart for the inside. The 960 of Sean English gets the slight jump and will win the race back to the start-finish line. Helpers are there, though, for both lanes as they work up the banking through 1 and 2. And this outside, this is going to be their big shot right here. Down the backstretch on this lap, that's when they need to make something happen. For the 960 of Sean English, he's getting pushed by Ken McCullough Jr., Daniel Eberhardt, and Kyler Wynn. That's a 4-truck tandem versus a 3-truck tandem on the outside. The outside will not be able to clear, at least not yet. In trouble. One off in the background. Vicente Guerrero trying to save it. Can he hold on? He's trying. He will. Vicente Guerrero is going to keep it off the racetrack, and we can keep it together up front as a result. Sean English coming off of turn 4, doing everything he can to hold on to this truck, getting pushed by the veteran. Ken McCullough Jr. on the outside, the 2 Nightmare teammates. They're going to try to hold on, make it 3 Nightmare teammates. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go at Talladega. Wrecking out back, but up front and throughout the majority of this lead pack, everybody keeping it green. Garrett Maines trying to lead the inside to make one more charge to the front. But who's going to make that third lane work first? Keep an eye. Somebody's got to go. Will the 91 of Huffman be the first man to try to do it? Nothing yet. Huffman set up for a run, though. Final time into turn 3. I don't know if there's going to be enough time for a third lane to develop. The front 2 still side by side, but now English is going to start to prevail. Ken McCullough Jr. pushing for all he's worth. Final time off of turn 4 here tonight. English jumps up. He blocks Ken McCullough Jr. Now he goes back low. Ken's going to get split in the middle. Down the track. Eberhardt nowhere to go. Now he's going to push. Final time through the tri-oval. Can Eberhardt jump up? He does, but it's not enough. Sean English wins it at Talladega. I believe that is the first career win for Sean English. It comes in the anniversary race. And how about that one? For the 960 machine, Daniel Eberhardt takes second, and it's Kyler Wynn who rounds out the podium here tonight at Talladega. And what a finish. Let's go back and look at that here. Let's go bring it around to celebrate. Some chaos in the back, and you feel for Ken McCullough Jr., who, to be honest, I thought he set up the move really well. Even once English through the block, I thought he was going to be okay, but just doesn't work out for him here, and let's figure out exactly why. So here you go, Ken doing a masterful job of pushing, landing it as well, but the inside's just rolling. And he's going to keep pushing, eventually gets clear. He jumps up, and, I mean, English covers it so well, but then eventually realizes that it's not going to work, so he jumps down. Unfortunately, though, Freddie splits Ken. Ken tries to block, and, you know, I'll be honest, again, I know they were going for the top 3, and it works out. They get 2 of the money spots. But I think if you're Freddie, if you just push Ken there, Ken might have a shot at the win, and Freddie maybe takes second, maybe third instead of 4th and 5th, but makes the move, and they just don't have enough time to get that lane reorganized as English thinks about a block on Eberhardt, realizes he doesn't quite need it, goes back down, and Sean English, just again, a masterful performance right there at the end, and we'll go frame by frame, show you just how close it was. Right there at the line, we'll get a bit of a different angle on this. Watch it from the photo finish view. Sean English takes it by about half a truck length here tonight at Talladega. All right, so as we bring up your final results, Sean English, your race winner in the PGR 2-year anniversary race. Daniel Eberhardt finishes second with Kyler Wynn in third. Freddie Bosnez fourth. Landon Velicki in fifth with Ken McCullough Jr. in sixth. And then you've got Chase Mastretta seventh, Landon Huffman eighth, James Seawright in ninth, and Cody Nagels rounding out your top 10. Garrett Maines finishes 11th. Joshua McCullough 12th with James Waring 13th. Nathan Harper 14th. Dylan Jones at 15th. Larry McDonald 16th. with Michael Miller finishing back in that 17th spot. And rounding out the top 20 here tonight, in the 18th position is Axel Smith, Cole Larson in 19th, and David Flanagan in 20th. Sean Hilkowicz finishes 21st, Sean Corbett 22nd, with Adam Young 23rd, Richard Elliott 24th, James Wagner 25th, John Darnell 26th, Michael Barksdale 27th, Jonathan Herbert 28th, Dawson Wise 29th, and Ethan Eckert rounds out your top 30. Brian Hennings finishes 31st, Asher Little 32nd, Joshua Watson 33rd, with Landon Tilley in 34th, Vicente Guerrero 35th, Sterling Thess 36th, Matthew Baker 37th, Chris Melton finishes back in 38th, and it's going to be Chris Blanchard and Hunter Hastings rounding out the top 40. Jeff Scott finishes 41st, Avery Watkins 42nd, Heath Job 43rd, with Ryan Schreckengost in 44th, Devin Ray 45th, Michael Triscaro 46th, Austin Hill 47th, Nash Brambilla back in 48th, Jeff Merck 49th, Michael Wingo rounding out the top 50. Garrett Pick and Ambrose Kniebel round out the field as they finish 51st and 52nd. All right, we're going to go grab your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back here at Talladega. All right, welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. We're going to go ahead and kick things off here tonight with your race winner. And again, I believe it's his first win, and it was a very, very well-earned one here tonight. That's Sean English. Sean, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, you grabbed the win here at Talladega in such a special race. A lot of money on the line, and man, what was going through your mind on that last lap? You had to make a couple of blocks there. How stressful was that?
Oh, I knew it was going to be tight. I don't run many of these. These guys are doing them really consistently, some amazing, strong competition. Knew it was going to be tough, but if I could just barely get that block off of 4 and then solidify the bottom, I knew I'd be able to take her home.
And you do just that in a race that saw so many cautions. How do you stay focused through it all and make sure that you can be ready at the end for one of those crazy overtime finishes?
Man, let me tell you, I don't think I pit once that race. I was saving fuel the entire time. We ran 49 laps, and I still had 2 gallons of fuel left. That was it turned into an endurance race. Had to stay focused, had to stay sharp, but luckily we were able to hang in there.
Absolutely. And hey, Sean, before we let you head out here tonight to go celebrate the winnings, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Just everybody at TTK, good group of guys, good clean group. They were really helpful in tonight's race, and I appreciate everything they did for me.
Sean, thank you for talking to us. Well, congrats on the win, a very big one here in PGR. We appreciate you talking to us again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. I appreciate everything y'all do.
All right, and now that'll bring us down to your second place finisher here tonight, and that is Daniel Eberhardt. Let's see if we can get him. Hey, Daniel, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, I hate to take you away from race control. I know you guys might be reviewing some stuff, but I mean, we got to talk to you here because you bring home a second place finish. You look like you may have had a shot at the win. What else do you think you might have needed there at the end to try to get Sean English?
Probably 300 more feet. No, I was going to work with Kenny right there at the end, and I knew he had to be getting hot, but he kept it cool enough. But it took nightmare all of them just to try to team up and pass us all. I don't know. That just bothers me a little bit when you make that many guys move up. Like the race is on their race, you know. None of us are trying to do that stuff. You got one guy and that's it. But all in all, good run to Sean, dude. I mean, I haven't seen him in a while, and he came out here and about cussed. Put it on our tails right there. But and thank you for broadcasting, Austin. Did an amazing job this week, definitely with all the PGR 500 stuff. Thank you to Michael for putting on the PGR 500 too.
Absolutely. And of course, Daniel, speaking of the PGR week, we see this event here tonight kind of as a little bit of an intermission sort of race. How do you kind of switch mindsets over from the next gen to the trucks and the way they push so differently?
Aggravating, man. I mean, I do not enjoy next gen racing. I just don't enjoy the big runs or where you can kind of tandem if you have a cool race car. So it's kind of weird. I really like real life kind of stuff. Even like these trucks, I feel like we're moving too fast, and you know, there's so much of a big air bubble in real life, and we just don't have that right now. Maybe iRacing's working on that. Maybe they're not. I don't know anymore. I've kind of just given up with the way I've, stepped away a little bit and just don't care as much anymore. Just here to have fun. And I did have a lot of fun tonight, but I think you're going to have more action tomorrow on PGR eSports. I can tell you that. LCQs, duels, trying to get into that PGR 500, $2,000 on the line. Come on, man. It's about to be all madness tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be pure chaos tomorrow. But as for tonight, before we let you head out to celebrate, Daniel, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out? Yeah,
most definitely. You guys, thank you to Matt Baker and Michael Triscaro working their tails off. Hey, a couple of years ago, it was D3, and then he took over with the PGR stuff, and now I'm just happy that I can just sit there, relax, and race. So it's just amazing. Everything that Michael's done grew this thing so much, and I think he's going to grow it even more. Just as long as we work together as a community and try to weed out all the bad little things that are, just the stuff that comes and goes, just take it with little grains of salt. And also just all the hard work you do behind the scenes with the booth and everything, man. Just thank you.
And Daniel, thank you for talking to us. Congrats on the second place finish, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
All right, now that's going to bring us up to your final podium finisher here tonight, taking on the third spot, and that's Kyler Wynn. Kyler, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Well, you bring home third here tonight, and looked like there was a couple points in this race where you may have been buried. Didn't know if you were going to be able to get back up there, but you find a way at the end. What was going through your mind there on that final restart?
Honestly, just stay in line and work together. I couldn't do much else, and the seats parted, I guess you could say. They all throwing crazy blocks and moved up the track, and I just pushed Daniel forward. Not bad for being on my roof like 10 laps ago. I don't know if you saw that, but I was involved in the big wreck there with the Cody Eagles, and was on top of a car and landed on my wheels. No damage, kept going. So that was fun.
Oh, yeah, we saw it. I mean, it was one of the wildest saves I've ever seen. Yeah, you said it. Got on the roof and then landed like nothing ever happened and just kept driving off. But, I mean, nonetheless, in the trucks here tonight, we saw a lot of guys really struggling, especially on restarts. And when you start to get yourself trapped in the middle of all that chaos, how is it that it seems like every time you find a way to kind of just keep a cool head and get right back to the front for the end?
Yeah, I don't know about every time, man. This is the first time I've cashed in like 3 weeks. But I don't know. Honestly, just like it's a lot of luck with this car now, especially with the field size like this. So I like to think I got pretty lucky there. I don't think any of my talent or so had any doing in that. I mean, I was lucky to be what happened in that wreck. I should have been destroyed like all the other cars around me, but I somehow landed on all my wheels and kept going. Luck plays a big factor in these races. It always will, and it did tonight.
Certainly does. Well, hey, Kyler, before we let you head out here tonight, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Just factory setups on the truck, man. Wish you could be racing tomorrow, but fun.
Absolutely. And Kyler, thank you for talking to us. So congrats on the third place finish, and we will see you next time.
Yep. Thank you for the broadcast.
Thank you. All right. Well, that's just about going to wrap up our coverage, and it's about time. I need a break here. My voice is at the point of cracking, and got to go tomorrow here. 2 more broadcasts. So hopefully we can get recovered before then. But as always, thank you all so much for tuning in. Certainly appreciate it. Hope that you all enjoyed it. I mean, it was a great finish and obviously a phenomenal win there for Sean English, who, as Eberhard put it, came in and knocked the rust off pretty quickly. Gave these guys a pretty good tail whipping. Tomorrow, we'll kick things off with the LCQs. Can catch all that here on PGR Esports. And then after that, we will go to the duels. And of course, the PGR 500 is on Sunday. That's it for me, Austin Green, here tonight on PGR Esports. And until next time, have a good night.